Arrived last night. A lovely evening. Sat outside till 11 o'clock and it looks like it's going to be another warm day. Here it is in the workshop, waiting for the work to start. I'm disappearing away for a week or so, and then when it's done I'll come back and pick her up, take her home and start the process of putting everything back together. I'm back at Harry's now, and Harry's been disassembling the Dyane, ready for welding. As you can see, there are no sills in place, but the floors he started with. And the bulkhead's looking pretty bad. And here's the new sill in place on this side already. Yesterday afternoon was spent grinding off axle bolts. None of them wanted to come off, so that took quite a lot of time. Suspension pots are now off. Again, had to grind the sleeves, actually cut the sleeves in half. So yesterday was slow going. These are the axle bolts, and there's one that hasn't come out now. The others came out. And the stud suspension sleeve. I'm going to grind that off, as you can see. Luckily I'd ordered 4 brand new ones, so it wasn't a great loss. The engine's out. Chassis should arrive on Monday. Today is Saturday. Here is the chassis, showing evidence of axle bolt grinding. Patches, thumping right hole. That's a 43-year-old chassis. Not done too badly, but it does need replacing. There is the fixing kit, which I'll unwrap in just a second, but here we are. A nice galvanised chassis. And here we have all the fixing bolts. This is all the tape to go between the chassis and the body. Some bump stops. A bit weird because I also ordered some for Burton, obviously forgot I'd ordered these. And a new bracket for, I think, the passenger window. Not sure which one now. But there we are. Today is the first stage of starting to put things, or not to say put them back together, but get them ready to be put back together. This is the saddle that goes over the petrol tank and supports the back half of the body. Been painted in gold hammerite, so it's not too bad condition, but I'm going to paint it with this, which looks like a equivalent for hammerite. So I'm just rubbing it down with a wire brush, preparing it, and then I'll be painting that. Done. And I'll give that another coat tomorrow. I've hit my first slight issue. The gap between that and that is 53 centimetres. On my van and on the old Dyane chassis is 53.5, which means I can't get that nut in there. I can just squeeze it in one end, but there's no room at all to get it in the other end. So I don't quite know at the moment what I'm going to do about that. I found another small issue. This little hole here, just after the axle bolts, which is for the bump stop, is not there on the chassis from Renault. This is my new chassis. there should be a hole there for the bump stop to go in. And I managed to get it in, but as you see there's absolutely no room for adjustment. So those 5mm would have made all the difference. What a shame Renault have made it the wrong size. Well, that took a lot longer than I would have hoped. And I discovered another slight, not an issue, but Burton don't cut slots. So when you're tightening that bolt, it's very difficult to stop this turning because you can't anchor it in any way, because Burton have decided not to put the slots in the stain. These are stainless steel ones, so they're nice and lovely things, but shame the slot's not there. While moving this, I dropped it, and as you can see, one of the rear legs collapsed and is very weak, so plainly the chassis really did need changing. And here's what we managed to get done yesterday. Got the engine in, gearbox obviously with it, new engine mounts at the front, new gearbox mount, drive shafts are connected. There's a new engine mounts under there. I'm going to swap the metal petrol tank for a plastic one I have. Put the new sender unit in that. Suspension's on, front and rear, not the shock absorbers yet. Don't know what there else is there is to see. Got lovely stainless steel tubes in there. Copper grease, and I'm going to put waterproof marine grease as well, and that's about it really, but quite good progress yesterday.